All right, guys, it looks like Damian Lillard is frustrated in Portland, and it looks like a trade possibility is out there. This is really going to be something big this offseason, and Damian Lillard might be going somewhere else. Let's talk about what happened and maybe some trade possibilities for Damian Lillard. It's the Hoopsnerd Show. All right, guys. So it definitely looks like Damian Lillard is frustrated with the situation in Portland. And I think it's important that you remember who this report is being written by. Chris Haynes is a guy that works with Damian Lillard. He's done reporting for Damian Lillard in the past where Lillard has leaked things to him that Lillard wants out there, things that he wants said. I can't remember exactly all the different reports, but basically Chris Haynes putting out a report like this lets you know that this report comes directly from Damian Lillard. A lot of times with reports like with Woj and Woj bombs and things like that, you're not always 100% sure where it comes from. A report could come from a player agent trying to get some info out there so that maybe it creates leverage with a player trying to get a contract or a trade or something like that. Sometimes you'll have GMs leak information to Woj or to Shams or something like that so that they can kind of read the market. Things like that happen in the draft all the time. You'll definitely see things like during the Donovan Mitchell draft. I've heard, and I can't say this 100% because I haven't talked to a Jazz GM guy, but I am like 99.9% sure that during the draft, the Jazz drafted Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz GMs let out some info that they'd like to trade up into that draft. And they leaked that to Jody Genessy, a reporter here. Jody Genessy put that tweet out and it blew up. And guess what? Other GMs read that stuff and then they say, oh, we know that the Jazz are looking to trade up. And lo and behold, Denver knows that Utah wants to trade up. They liked Utah's pick. They traded back and the Jazz traded up and got Donovan Mitchell. So anyways, sometimes you don't know where these reports are coming from and things like that. But when it's Chris Haynes, you know that it comes from Damian Lillard. That's his guy. And so what does this report say? So Chris Haynes said, sources say the coaching process, the inability to build a title contending roster may push Damian Lillard out of Portland. It's interesting. So what happens in this report, and we're just going to read it. It says the backlash from the Portland Trail Blazers process to hire a new coach and his concerns on whether a championship contender can be built have become factors that may push the franchise player Damian Lillard out the door, league sources told Yahoo Sports. Lillard remains loyal to Portland in large part due to the tremendous fan base, but over the last few days, he's seen some of those same fans attacking him on social media for a pending coaching hire he played no part in consummating. Portland is currently in negotiations to make Los Angeles Clippers assistant coach Chauncey Billups its next head coach. All right. So what was interesting about this process is that it was apparently there were certain coaches that Damian Lillard had on a list. Apparently they hired Chauncey Billups, but I guess this guy was not in Damian Lillard's list. And it says that Damian Lillard was unaware of all these past sexual harassment or sexual assault allegations that were against Chauncey Billups. Now there's all sorts of backlash and craziness. And what this has done is brewed up a frustration with Damian Lillard, who has every right to be frustrated with Portland and the results in Portland. You know, you watched that last playoff series where Damian Lillard brought the Blazers back on his own with absolutely insane performances where his play was just out of this world. And we've seen so many times with Dame time where he just is on that floor making insane buckets, taking this Portland team farther than they have any sort of right to be because he's a top 10 player in this league. Damian Lillard is unreal. And so every single postseason you watch Damian Lillard performing like this, doing incredible things and just falling short because guys like CJ McCollum step out of bounds at a crucial time, or certain guys missing free throws or missing shots or not getting a stop or all sorts of things. And it's a front office that has not been able to put a team around Damian Lillard that can win, a coaching staff that just got let go, and Stotts that could not create schemes with the players they had that could find a way to get over the top. I mean, this is a team that did go to the Western Conference Finals. That's tough to do, and it's all behind Damian Lillard. That's the caliber of player this guy is. He is in his early 30s. He's not a young guy. So if Damian Lillard's going somewhere, he's going to want to go to a contender. He does not have a lot of time to build up. So anyways, the moral of this comes from Dame. And we may be looking at a trade for Dame. So what does that mean? Trade possibilities. Where can we go? Well, it could go anywhere. There's going to be a lot of teams out there that have a lot of pieces that could make something happen. Every single offseason we see this, where specific teams are waiting for a disgruntled superstar like Dame so that they can fit, with all these assets to go get that one guy that can take them over the top. Whether you're like the Philadelphia 76ers, where maybe you can give up Ben Simmons and Maxey and picks, and maybe you can go get Damian Lillard for that. Maybe if you're looking for just the best trade available, something like that might happen. Or maybe there's a team like the Houston Rockets who have an incredible group of picks and things they just got from like Brooklyn or something like that. May be a possibility for Portland if Portland is just going out there and looking for just the best trade available. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Damian Lillard has meant everything to Portland. He has given everything to them. He signed the Supermax. He has given them all they could have asked for, and he's just never had that reciprocated in terms of a winning team on the floor that could win a title. Dame, I believe, is around 33 years old. Let me know in the comments how old he exactly is. But Damian Lillard is looking at the final few years. This last contract is this is the last of his prime. And he wants to win a title. If you're trading for Dame, you're trading to win now. So my guess is that Dame does not want to go to a rebuilding team with lots of picks. He's going to want to go to a team that is winning now. The other thing is because Dame has given so much to Portland, and I've heard this from different podcasts talking about it, but Dame means a lot to Portland and gave them a lot. And they may be looking at doing him a solid and saying, where would you like to go? Where would you like to be, Damian Lillard? Well, Damian has said publicly where he'd like to go. All right, guys, but before we talk about trade possibilities, let's take a minute to talk about Manscaped.com. Summer's coming, although it's actually already here. It's hot where I'm at. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? You're in luck. Our friends at Manscaped just launched their 4th generation performance package, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Complement your summer bod with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. The sun is shining and calling your name, fellas. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for hot guy summer by going to Manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20. HoopsNerd20. It's time to bundle up with Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Guys, I have the Performance package, and my package has been performed correctly. It's great. That didn't make sense, but go buy this stuff, guys, because it's 20% off. You know you've been thinking about it. Go look for it. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20 at Manscaped.com. Escape the shrubs and weeds this summer and shine with Manscaped.com. Oh, and the 2 teams, Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz. So we're going to base this video off of those 2 teams because if that's where he wants to go, it's very likely Portland tries to send him there. Both of those teams are teams that have a chance to win it all now. And both teams have very specific trades they could do. If you are the Los Angeles Lakers, there's 2 guys. And we're talking a crazy trade here. I don't think you can trade LeBron. No, like you're not trading LeBron. I don't know if he has a trade exception. I doubt it, or I'm guessing you can't trade him. Let me know in the comments. Someone go look that up and let me know in the comments. Unless maybe there's this crazy world where LeBron doesn't have a trade restriction in his contract, which maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I just don't think you can trade LeBron James. LeBron this year looked a little hobbled at the end of the year. He still hasn't shown that he is slowing down. I don't think you could trade LeBron. And the thing that's insane about Damian Lillard is he's kind of the perfect player to play next to LeBron James. His ability to shoot, create his own shot. I mean, if you designed a player to play next to LeBron, it's Damian Lillard. It's like that secondary guy. He's like Kyrie Irving, but better with range and just incredible crunch time scoring. It's you've seen LeBron win with that player next to him. And so Dame fits perfectly. But to make that happen, the Lakers would have to trade Anthony Davis. Maybe the Lakers are willing to do that. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? Anthony Davis, as much as we love him, and him and LeBron together proved that they will win you a title. Maybe you say, hey, we lost last playoffs because of injuries. We'd like to try it with this instead, and we know that Dame is a much more durable player. This is a chance to capitalize on LeBron's final few years of this contract and what are likely LeBron's last few productive years in the NBA. The other thing that you got to think about if you're the Lakers is if you want to have LeBron for the next 3-4 years, Damian Lillard works perfectly for that, because if LeBron starts to slow down a little bit, if he becomes more of just kind of a power forward instead of kind of this guard, massive, incredible guard, best player of his generation, I don't know if LeBron's going to be that guy as much, and he may need a guy like Damian Lillard who can handle the ball, get him easier shots and things like that. As LeBron gets a little bit older, it makes the end of LeBron's career a little better. Maybe you do that. It's hard to trade Anthony Davis, and that's a trade Portland probably does. If you can get Anthony Davis for Damian Lillard, you're trading one top 10 guy for another. And Anthony Davis, when he's right, we've seen just how incredible he can be. Now, if you're Anthony Davis, that, you're not super happy about that. And I don't remember Anthony Davis's contract situation. All right, never mind. I just looked it up. Anthony Davis is on a 5-year contract. He's doing, if you're trading, that's probably the best possibility for the Blazers. Like, if you can get Anthony Davis for Damian Lillard, you're doing that 9 times out of 10. Now, I'm guessing that the Lakers probably don't want to do that. That's a monster, massive trade. Both of these guys are on big deals, and so those contracts are probably, that's the nice thing too, is that you can make those contracts match. You can make Anthony Davis match with Damian Lillard. But are you better if you're the Lakers with that? I don't know, because Anthony Davis is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year. When he's right, he's unstoppable. We saw him in the bubble just absolutely decimate teams. Looked like the best player on the floor with LeBron on the floor. He looked incredible. He was unbelievable. So Portland's probably okay doing that, because you get another incredible guy to replace Damian Lillard. Maybe that's what you do. And that's, if Damian says, I only want to go to one of two teams, if you go to the Lakers and they're willing to do that, then that's a trade that could possibly happen. The other team that Damian Lillard has mentioned is the Utah Jazz. Now, other people out there that aren't Jazz fans are going to scoff at that. But guess what? Damian Lillard went to college in Utah. Damian Lillard's a loyal guy. That's why he stayed in Portland so long. Utah is the place that gave him his shot. Weber State. That's where he made a name, and that's the place that helped him become a top 10 pick. I think he was number 6 overall. I can't remember exactly. And Utah is right now in win now mode. Utah has players they could trade as well. Now, you're trading Rudy Gobert. That doesn't come with the cachet that Anthony Davis does, but that's a contract that matches. Rudy Gobert is a multi-year All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. The biggest problem for the Blazers has not been offense, it's been defense. Also, Nurkic had those weird comments at the end of the year where he didn't know where he was going. So if Nurkic leaves, you lose Damian Lillard, which is the worst, but you refill that spot with the best defensive center in the NBA. All of a sudden, you're still a contender. So if money's an issue, you got the Portland Trail Blazers still have a very good shot at making the playoffs. One thing people don't realize about Rudy Gobert, he doesn't have the ceiling like an Anthony Davis does, where he can be both this offensive and defensive superstar. He's not those things. But Rudy Gobert raises the floor of every team he's on. He's the reason the Jazz have been a playoff contender every year he's been getting regular minutes for the Jazz, because he raises your floor. He makes you, every game you're in, Rudy Gobert gives you every game he's on the floor, Rudy Gobert gives you a chance to win, and he fixes the Blazers defense immediately. You can also do something with a sign and trade of Conley and Gobert for that team. So maybe you have multiple players moving so that you have like a point guard that replaces Damian Lillard in like a Mike Conley. Mike Conley, you can give an overpay, so he's helping the Blazers win now. That fits alongside CJ McCollum, and then you get a player like Rudy Gobert, and all of a sudden you're like the Portland Jazz, and you have a high-level defense. You can score. You're making the playoffs. You're giving yourself a chance to win, and maybe CJ McCollum at that point becomes kind of your scoring star, and hopefully you kind of figure things out with some of your younger players like Anthony Simons. Maybe he's someone that kind of takes another step now that Damian Lillard's gone, or something like that. That's the type of thing you might be doing with Utah. And those are the two teams that, if Damian Lillard wants to go somewhere, if he has a short list and those two teams are the short list, those are the type of trades you're looking at. I actually think those are more possible because in this day and age, you need contracts that match. And the Blazers are definitely either going to trade with a win now team like that's on a list, or they're going to trade for a bunch of really good picks with a really bad team. But considering that Damian Lillard is at the end of his career, my guess is that he's going to want to go to a contender, which he's already said. Dame wants to win now, and so those are the type of teams. If he wants to go to just best place available that can also win, you're looking at something like the 76ers. Although I think Ben Simmons' value has really taken a hit. You've also got some other teams in the East that maybe could throw something together. Maybe Brooklyn. There's little rumblings about Kyrie Irving. Maybe Brooklyn says maybe we'll give you Kyrie and send Dame to Brooklyn. There's other things like that could possibly happen. But if we're talking about teams that he's requested, Utah and LA looks like a very real possibility. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, before we end, I want to give a shout out to our All-Stars. We got to start with Kelsey Hamer, the Hammer, Antoine and One Warren, Ezekiel Raisibe, my man from down under, JT Buckets Wardell, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, Eric C. C's for champion, Donald Schooley schooling us all, Cody Strictly, the best Strickland, Super Mitt Robach, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Lee Christensen driving the lane, Ryan Perry, the legend, Justin Ty H, Patrick Okubo, the connoisseur, Robert Hall of Fame Hall, and DW Jazz going all the way. Guys, make sure if you're new here that you like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to join the live streams, which we will be bringing back soon. The season ended, but we've got to start bringing back the live streams again. Make sure you join the channel. We also have monthly live streams that we're going to have to do with our All-Stars here soon. We got to figure that out. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.